I am honored and proud to tell you that I'm a member of the Full Moon Smokers Club in Q West, Iraq. We'd gather once a month to grill steaks, swap stories, tell tall tales, and of course, smoke cigars. I remember one night in particular. It was just a little after sunset, but the full moon was already high in the sky. The grill had been fired up and the men were gathered around the flames. Now, of course, whenever there's men around a fire and there's meat to be cooked, there's going to be a discussion on how best to proceed, and this night was no different. It was funny to me that the most impatient man on the base was counseling patience. You've got to wait until the coals are good and ready. You just can't throw a steak in those flames and expect it to turn out right. That was Chief Castaneda, a fiery and feisty Vietnam vet helicopter pilot who was still active duty. A young captain, Captain Molesky, piped up. That's why I like my gas grill. It's ready when I'm ready to eat. The chief just sneered at him. Well, if that's your idea of grilling, you might as well put on an apron and cook in the kitchen. We all grumbled our agreement while Molesky, thoroughly and rightfully chastised, slunk away while the chief took over the grill. Captain Davidson, founder, president, and acknowledged cigar aficionado of the Full Moon Smokers Club, said, "It's not the quality of the food that counts, but the quality of the company." The company that night was indeed prestigious. In addition to Chief Castaneda and Captains Molesky and Davidson, there was Colonel Gregory, Colonel Jones, Staff Sergeant Wright, Sergeant Eggleston, Jerry, another civilian contractor who was also a Vietnam vet. Representing the Iraqi Army were Colonel Hakim and General Amin. The two guests of honor were Staff Sergeant Wright and General Amin. The chief soon called out that the steaks were ready, and we all quickly grabbed our plates and lined up. When Captain Molesky asked if any were well done, it earned him yet another sneer from the chief, and a declaration that he'd never ruin a good steak like that, and if Molesky wanted one, he'd have to put one back on the grill and cook it himself. Fine, Molesky said, I'll go ahead and do it. So we all sat down on picnic tables, and the meal was eaten while jokes and stories were traded all around. After we'd finished, Captain Davidson rose from his seat and introduced the guest of honor. First, he recognized Staff Sergeant Wright, who had arrived on base as part of the advance party for their unit. He was now going home, and that was our occasion for celebration. The captain described everything the staff sergeant had done to make their mission a success. At the end of his speech, we all rose and toasted Staff Sergeant Wright with our glasses of non-alcoholic beer held high. Now it was time to recognize General Amin. The general was the man in charge of our wide area of northern Iraq and had just successfully overseen the security for the election that was held to approve the Iraqi constitution. Now that night, the results had not yet been announced, and one of the colonels asked what the general thought the results may be. The general raised a purple-stained finger and hesitated just a moment before he spoke. He said, "The results are not what is important. What is important is that before, it was what Saddam said. Now, it's what the people say." And with that, we all stood and toasted Iraqi democracy. After the general finished speaking, it was time for cigars. Captain Davidson handed out Cubans that were sold right there on the base. He gave me one, and I squeezed it and said, "Thank you, sir. This one's nice and fresh." The captain replied, "Remember," and I believe it was Kipling who said, "A woman is just a woman, but a good cigar is a smoke." So we sat there and smoked, and I listened to these warriors tell war stories. The chief said in Vietnam they kept their K-bar knives real sharp and real close. When someone asked why, he said if your position was overrun, you didn't want to start shooting within your perimeter and hit your own men. Jerry, who'd been on long-range patrols in Vietnam, said they kept the edge of their entrenching tool very sharp, and it was very effective. When you're that far behind enemy lines, he said, you don't want to fire your weapon unless absolutely necessary. General Amin spoke up. "I know something about the use of bayonets," he said. He described how during the Iran-Iraq War, the Iranians would send wave after wave of unarmed young men charging toward their front lines or clearing minefields. The Iraqis would hit them with artillery, machine guns, and then afterwards send squads of men out with bayonets to finish them off. Not to be cruel, but simply to save ammunition for the next firefight. After a while, all the big brass left, and out came more cigars and some guitars. Now, Staff Sergeant Wright was a guitar picker, and so was Jerry. They started strumming and they started playing, and pretty soon they were in sync. They started taking requests, and we all sang along to familiar tunes with the full moon as our audience. The songs brought out stories of old girlfriends, good buddies, and friends that never made it home. And so we sat late into the night singing songs and telling stories, till finally it's time to go get some sleep for the day ahead. Time to close out this meeting of the Full Moon Smokers Club until next month. As we got up to leave, I shook Staff Sergeant's right hand and I told him, just think, next time you play that guitar, you'll be sitting on your own back porch. And he said, you know what? I got a whole lot of wife loving and beer drinking to catch up on.
Sun goes down and the shadows start to crawl.